About 3 months ago, I made a video on this channel it was called something like, I've given up on my social life, and yet I'm so much happier than I've ever been. And this was basically saying how basically before I properly got into self-improvement, I was a very sociable person, and like a lot of my energy went into socialising. And I thought this was kind of what made me happy. And in many ways it did, it's like really exciting to have a social life. However, recently I've really taken a step back from all of that, as explained in this video. And it's funny, it's just actually so nice just to be doing my own thing. And I feel like I'm making progress in things that I've always wanted to make progress in, that I just couldn't quite when I was always socialising. So taking a step back from socialising, it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea if you want to improve yourself. However, that's a very different thing from saying that socialising is inherently unproductive. And I think you do take a massive hit on the richness of life when you sacrifice socialising. There are times when I think it's necessary if you want to make progress in a certain area. You feel like your friends are holding you back. Sometimes it's good to take a step back and work on other things, but it is a sacrifice, and it's not an optimal solution for the whole of your life. And one thing that I think a lot of people struggle with on self-improvement is they get lonely. And if not lonely, certainly for me, I think they're in a weird position as to like what's the relationship with socialising, how much socialising should they do. And at this stage in the game, this is kind of what I think. So obviously, like I said, I'm sort of going off on my own thing. I don't really spend a lot of time socialising anymore. I mean, I live with my housemates, talk to them. Sometimes we go to, go out and have a drink together, or go to the gym with someone, something like that. But apart from that, I am pretty much, especially since exams have been finished, I'm pretty much just doing my own thing, not really seeing anyone, not really interacting with someone. And it's funny how it works, because I always thought it was really important to be sociable, but I actually feel so much more happy with it. And my sort of long-term plan about socialising is this. So one thing that what I realised taking a step back from socialising now, is that 90% of the time with socialising, I wasn't doing what I actually wanted to do. I was doing going along with what other people would want to do. And obviously, you have to do that when you're socialising. But there's a balance. And it's funny how different my life is now. It's like I'm able to do things that I just wouldn't do. I wouldn't have the courage to do if I was in a group of friends in the same way. But I think it's good, because what it's doing is it's establishing, I'm kind of letting myself have my own thing. I've got my own thing going on now. And rather than go along with everyone else's plan, I'm sort of making my own. And this is something that I think I just have to get used to doing a lot. I have to do a lot of just doing my own thing. And then I can choose to let people into it. And that, I think, is a very nice way to socialise, because it just feels more productive. It feels like I'm not just constantly going out of my way for other people. But I think I'm only going to get that. I mean, in the Red Pill, it's kind of referred to as the frame, right? I'm sort of developing my frame, and then I can let people into it, in a sense. Now, it's funny, like a lot of people who maybe haven't experienced sort of problems with sort of what I'm describing about going along too much with people the way I have, might think, is it really that deep? Do you always have to do your own thing? It's something you can only really understand if you're from my perspective of kind of what it means to just compromise what you really want to do for other people's sake. I think only if you sort of drop a lot of social obligations and then start living your own life, only sort of retrospectively do you realise how much just doing what other people want. And obviously, like, I'm not saying like I'm gonna insist on everything that I do from now on has to be my own way. Of course, I'm not saying that, but I need to develop my own kind of way of doing things that I just haven't done. And the only way to do that is to go out on my own for a bit and develop myself in a more authentic way, without the influence of kind of not without the influence, but just without the without just simply following all sort of orders, following what other people are telling me to do. So anyway, guys, I hope this makes sense. I hope this gives you some kind of purpose to the loneliness you might get on self-improvement, and kind of a way of framing it that makes sense. And I will see you in the next video.